Dante Greco.
Dante is a really smart guy.
Ladies love Dante. Look at that head of hair. Look at that face. What's your name?
Dante Greco.
Dante was me, yours truly.
I'm gonna come.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dante Greco Show on this wonderful Monday afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whoever you are. It's a pleasure to be here with you. We're back in the Shooky studio. As always, we're giving away some clothing. If you take a picture, if you take a screenshot, come on down here, come get something while we're live. We would love to honor you with this magnificent work. How's it going, Candace, Jet? How you guys doing? A lot to talk about today. Some of it fun, some of it not so fun. Why don't we get the not so fun stuff out of the way to start with? I'm exhausted, by the way. I had to get up this morning and take my mom to the airport at like 4 a.m. So I'm a little tired, but I got my Celsius, and we're going to power through this together, okay? Monday. Let's get right into it, okay? So first of all, let's talk about the big story on everybody's mind, Russell Brand. All right. It's not a fun. This is the not fun story. Okay. I don't know. I'll just say this. First of all, here's a smattering of the headlines right now. They are talking about this in every major newspaper, especially in the UK, but also over here. A lot of different headlines. I mean, look at that. He could face prosecution in the U.S. We were basically pimps, TV staff. A lot of videos of him on old talk shows and stuff like that. And then that's his dad. Kind of a scary looking guy, isn't he? Gee, look at those teeth. Not nice. Here's my thing. I was never really a fan of Russell Brand to begin with, just because of my experiences with him when I was at TMZ. He was always angry with the camera guys. And it's someone's right to be angry at camera people coming up and trying to ask you questions or take pictures or just video of you when you're not expecting it. That's fine. I don't begrudge people that. But I don't know. He was like over the top with his annoyance. It really wasn't until he went on the Howard Stern show once, and Howard was like, what are you getting so mad about? Like, you're always getting into these fights with paparazzi. Why don't you just chill a little bit? And after that, he chilled out a little bit. But besides that, he was just always annoying. He took himself way too seriously. Like that Jesus Christ haircut that he's walking around with. I hate that. Cut that off. Anybody with a Messiah complex pisses me off. I'm good on the Messiah complexes, okay? I didn't like him to begin with because of his hair. When he first burst onto the scene and he had that like weird kind of, he made like a bonnet out of his hair and he was like running around like, hey, I'm the wacky, goth androgynous. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. And then encountering him, wasn't a fan. And now this, still not a fan. If you're a fan of Russell Brand, that's fine. And look, innocent till proven guilty. The piece, I didn't read the piece because what was it? Was it the Guardian? No, it wasn't the Guardian. It was some British paper. I didn't read the piece because it was paywalled, but I've seen bits and pieces of it all over Twitter. It seems to be well reported and well sourced. Apparently they worked on it for 4 years. So, and like this article said here, he could face prosecution. I don't know. It might not end so well. I'm just talking about from my experience. And even before I was at TMZ, I remember I saw him once, talking about Russell Brand, by the way, for anyone just joining. I saw him once at the airport. And I never do this. But I decided, this one time I'll be like, hey, man, you're Russell Brand. And he was sitting in his car and he just looked at me and he was just like, totally blew me off. Didn't have to engage, but I don't know. I didn't like it. I felt a little bit sheepish because I never do that anyway. So I felt stupid. Bill Carson on TikTok is saying you guys at TMZ yell out stuff at celebs to get reaction. Early on, they certainly did. That changed over the years when we tried to get more, real conversations, real sound bites, make some real news with people. So it pivoted from, hey, let's just yell something at a celeb to, let's try and engage them in a conversation. So your point is like half right. But again, I already said, like, I don't get mad necessarily when people ignore us or blow us off or even get angry, because yeah, they're going about their day. They don't necessarily, they're not looking for us to talk about stuff. So it's fine. But he's just, I don't know. I don't like his whole thing. I'm a little stinker. It never caught on with me. Obviously the allegations are horrible, and we'll see what happens. This is kind of a developing story in a way, so we'll see where it goes. I understand police are investigating and all that. Russell's continuing on. He made his own rebuttal video on YouTube. People, be objective. First of all, I'm not a reporter anymore. I'm a talk show host. So I am being objective, by the way. I'm not saying I'm just telling you what I don't like about him from my own personal reaction. Okay. Everything else is in the news. You can read it and decide for yourself. There are some people who say that it's to take him down because he's questioning the narrative on COVID, or he's questioning the narrative on Ukraine. And that could be possible, but also both things could be true. It could be true that they were holding on to this and then they saw his, they were compiling compromat on the guy. And then they saw him building a following and questioning official narratives and going at the media. And then they decided, all right, time to pull the trigger on Russell Brand. I feel like both things can be true. He could be a bad guy. He could be a good guy. Could be a bad guy. And they're pulling the trigger on him because of what he's doing in the news. So that's Russell Brand. I mean, how do you guys feel about it? I'm curious what the viewers think. I would like to know. We've all had Russell Brand in our lives for over a decade. And, I didn't really follow his current show. So I'm not too abreast on Russell Brand and what he's up to, but I'm curious, what do you guys think? Yeah, we're saying you don't know what's going on with the guy. It's just an ugly story. It's an ugly situation. What are you going to do? I try to talk about the funny stuff on this show. Got to talk about everything, but we try to keep it light and fun. Well, anyways, it's out there. If you want to comment on it, you didn't like it when he started talking about COVID, but leaning towards conspiracy. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, some people say he started going in that direction because he knew this was coming and he wanted to be able to say it was a witch hunt. I don't know. There's all type of different theories on Russell Brand and what's going on with him. I understand it's his character also. He's a bit of a cad. He's a bit of a womanizer and all that. Married to Katy Perry. They apparently didn't have a very joyous union. I guess he told her she was getting divorced from her. He texted her right before she was about to go on stage. That was in her documentary. So it's not nice. But then again, when you're in an acrimonious breakup, you do things, I suppose, that wouldn't be looked upon favorably in polite society. So whatever. That's Russell Brand. Again, controversial figure, controversial topic. I know he's got a lot of hardcore fans. So if you think I'm not being objective, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. All right. Even though I'm not a reporter, I'm still trying to be an objective observer. That's kind of one of the big goals of my show, is to not come at it from a partisan standpoint or from, dismissing things out of hand because I don't like the position that he took on something. No. We try to consider any and all things. What's Gym Class Heroes? I don't get that. I don't understand that reference. I mean, I know it was a band, but I don't know. Okay, let's move off of that. Unless someone has something to say, I'll gladly read the comments and talk about them. But let's move off of Russell for now. And let's talk about Lauren Boebert. What's up, Chris? So Lauren Boebert has decided she's not going to give this man a second date. TMZ apparently got an interview with her at the airport in DC. We all saw she was at the Beetlejuice musical and she got so worked up with this guy that they were fondling each other. They were vaping. They were having a little party to the point that they got kicked out. The Beetlejuice musical, by the way, I didn't quite register when I first heard it. What the hell are they singing about? I don't know. Let's watch this interview with her. This just broke right before I went live, so I haven't even had a chance to look at it. Let's see. Will Lauren Boebert find love? You know, good for her. She saw that. I'm going to give Lauren Boebert credit, and you know what? I'll give Drew Barrymore credit too. We're going to get to Drew Barrymore because obviously after the video that we made here last week, she decided to cancel her talk show. She's not going back. Neither is Bill Maher. They're all pulling the plug, really, because the talks apparently are starting to progress between SAG and the WGA and the AMPTP. Too many acronyms. I can't keep track of all of them. But I'm going to give Lauren Boebert credit preemptively. Well, let's watch the interview. She had a few too many. It happens sometimes. Yeah, Candace, that's true. I mean, look, she wasn't sitting in the front row. She wasn't like a VIP. She was sitting way back in a row. She thought she was hidden. By the way, like that's an alert going out to everybody going to these musicals or even probably going to movie theaters. You think you're going to be able to do some stuff low key in a theater, in a live theater, or I'm saying movie theaters too. You're not. They have infrared cameras that are very good, and they're going to capture you fondling your congresswoman or congressmen. So don't even think about it. All right, let me switch the camera view for TikTok so you guys can see. By the way, please, if you're just joining us, get me to 3,000 followers so I can start using TikTok Studio. It will be such a more pleasant viewing experience. All right, here we go. Lauren Boebert.
I know it's been a rough week, or has it been?
It's always hard whenever there's gravity put on the voters. I'm here to provide levity and lift burdens off of people. So anytime that they're carrying mine, it's something that kind of feel deep inside. But ultimately, all future date nights have been canceled, and I learned to check party affiliations before you go on a date. But all in all, it was mostly a lovely time, and I've taken responsibility for my actions. Would love to know how the musical ended, and I encourage people to go and see it. But it was a great time back in the district, seeing voters. And
so how are the voters taking it? How are the voters taking it right now? Are they understanding at this moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of folks who are certainly understanding, and they understand that it was a part of my personal life, my private time, something that I rarely indulge in. And
And when you say affiliation, as far as knowing not to date the opposite side,
well, TMZ, I'm pretty sure you told the world I went on a date with a Democrat.
so when it comes like that, when those times when it
no, he's a wonderful man, and it was a great time to go out, have dinner, enjoy part of a show. And now it's back to work. We're here in DC.
Okay.
And focusing on.
So is that date life? Is that over with him because of some people say because he had a drag bar or his
yeah, no, nothing to do with anything anybody reported. But honestly, he's a private citizen, and we peacefully parted at this time. Great man, great friend, and I wish him all the best.
Okay, so what's next for you?
That's wonderful. How great. Honestly, my biggest problem with her the whole time was the vaping. Vaping in a public place like that is so annoying. Charlie Cotton, by the way, I want to play your interview with JC Chazé. What the hell were you yelling about? I'm going to get to that if you can hang on a second. But for Boebert, the vaping was the biggest issue for me. I mean, the getting wild in the seats was, you shouldn't do that, especially if you're a sitting congresswoman. It's a dumb move. But then again, she's only her second term. She's 36. She's a young woman. She's having fun. We're we're trying not to live in a Puritan nation anymore. So it's really the vaping for me. Okay, real quick. I'm glad Charlie Cotton's here. You can get off after this, Charlie, but I saw your interview with JC Chazé. First of all, you should have watched my clips because I wanted you to ask the questions that I was raising, which is like, why did these guys think, and I'm sorry for harping on this. I'm done with it. I hate, and I'm sick of NSYNC. Why would they wait 20 years and then they give you a song on the Trolls 3 soundtrack? At least give us a little acapella, something. All right. But whatever. I'm more concerned with how loudly you were speaking. Are you having hearing problems, Charlie? Like, what the hell was this? Hopefully you guys can hear how loud he was on TikTok. I know that the quality is not here. That's why I'm asking, please get me to 3,000 followers so I can use TikTok Live Studio. Now you can see JC Chazé is being low key, and Cotton comes up and goes, "Hey, bro, how you doing? Great to see you, my man. Hey, bro." And he's only complimenting his hair because that's what Charlie looks like. He's got that same haircut. He's had it for 10 years. Dude, did you have headphones in? Like, why are you yelling at him? Hey, bro, I was just listening to the Better Place. Right? Never know. It's not that loud. Why is JC Chazé able to talk at a low, normal volume and you got to yell at this guy? I was just at the airport this morning. As I mentioned before, I'm exhausted because I had to drop my mom off at 4 a.m. at LAX. And it's not that loud. It's loud, but it's not that loud. Yeah, I don't know. I wish you just said, look, man, a lot of people are upset. Like the Dante Greco show, they're upset because you wasted everyone's time with that VMAs thing and you should have sang. Okay. Forget going on the road. How about like a one-off performance? Anyways, all right. That's it. This isn't the Charlie Cotton show. Amen. Bro. All right. Fuck. So, did you see what happens? I start talking about Charlie Cotton's interview and I lost almost all my viewers. Yeah. Goodbye. Thank you. You threw me off. Later. Have fun on Joe's Live. I might move over to Joe's Live too. This is going great. By the way, I just want to call out HBO Max and Warner Discovery. They canceled Winning Time. I'm pissed at you guys. It was a show about the Showtime Lakers of the 1980s. I'm angry at the Lakers of the 1980s. I've interviewed Magic. I've interviewed James Worthy. They're all nice guys. I'm not really mad, but like, you guys could have come out and supported the show. It was a great show. Now we're not going to get to see what happens. And Zaslav, the owner of Warner Discovery, you got $400 million. You're making $400 million a year. Cut some of that salary. You're saving money right now by not having to go into production during the strike. Come on, pal. Keep the show going. By the way, they found that fighter jet. That big fighter jet that crashed. Did you guys hear about this? Did you hear about this? It was pilot ejected. They didn't know where it was. They set up a hotline. They did find it. It doesn't sound like anyone was killed by the jet crashing into the ground. So you no longer have to call the missing stealth jet fighter hotline to report it. They were asking Americans to report it if they saw it flying through the air. So there we go. Problem solved. All right. As we spoke about last week, Drew Barrymore made a weepy apology video, and then she came out over the weekend and said that she was going to cancel her plans to continue on with her show during the strike. Bill Maher has also decided to axe his plans to continue on during the strike. I'm glad to see that. You know, they were undercutting what the strikers were going for. A lot of people were complaining. First of all, people got mad that we were making fun of Drew Barrymore for crying. God, it's so hot right now. You guys don't even know. There's no AC here. Sorry for sweating. People were mad that we were making fun of Drew Barrymore and her video. They're like, is this what we're doing? We're going after people for apologizing now? Like, yeah. In this case, yeah. No, it's not that serious. She didn't kill anybody, but like, she knew what this would mean to go back to work. I know that talk shows are under different rules, but she knew what this would mean. She's an actress. She's not just a talk show entertainer. She's an actress. She's worked in movies for 45 years. You got to stand up with your people. So anyways, she has canceled it. Bill Maher has also canceled it. Hey, babe, welcome. Look at this. Oh, I got the night helmet. Thank you. Look at that. The viewers are shooting up. We stopped talking about Charlie Cotton from TMZ, and the views are shooting up. Thank you, everybody. All right, Chris does stuff. Go ahead. Listen, we do this show every day, either from the streets of LA or from the Shooky Studios. So if you can't make today's show, that's fine. I'll repost it later. It'll probably be better. I'll edit it to make it sound more succinct. Are you guys happy? Do you like that? Yeah, Charlie's cool. It's just, you know, he's ratings poison. I started talking to him about him, and we got down to 10 viewers at one point when we were reviewing the Charlie Cotton interview. No, he's fine. Charlie Cotton's fine. He was yelling in his interview. I see viewers shooting in. What happened? Did Joe get off his live? I want to watch Joe's live too. But we did it, folks. We shamed Drew Barrymore into canceling her thing. Okay, listen, I'm happy. Thank you for coming over here after Joe's live. I appreciate it. I'm glad. That's kind of the idea that we have. By the way, here's a little inside baseball for everybody, is that we want to have kind of like oh yeah, he was over at Dancing with the Stars. That's right. We want to have like kind of like a network where it's like one of us switches off, the other people, then you can come over to my live or vice versa, and we'll just have content all day long. All right, so that's what we're going for. What's up, Natalie on YouTube? How are you? Sorry, I've been neglecting the YouTube views. Bill Maher, Drew Barrymore have canceled their comebacks. So we made the right choice. I know that they didn't see our videos, but we were part of the cacophony that was criticizing them for coming back. It was too soon. We played a part, and good for Drew Barrymore. We can forgive her now. You know, she didn't do anything horrible. It's funny to make fun of. What's up, David? Thank you, Ruby. It's funny to make fun of a celebrity whenever they come on and they're like, you know, trying to sound like super serious. So that's it. Cacophony. Yeah, babe. It's a it's a big, loud sound. It's like if you go to the see like a classical music performance and they're all playing at the same time. It's a cacophony. All right, let's keep it moving. Jann Wenner, did you guys see this? And by the way, if you missed it, for people coming over from Joe's live, we already talked a little bit about Russell Brand. So I gave my thoughts about how I just don't like him from my experiences at TMZ, and I don't like his hair, and but I'm curious what you guys think about him and the whole situation. Jann Wenner, this is so funny because Jann Wenner is like one of those old hippie. Now, look, I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to get political, okay? I have divorced myself. What I did is I divorced my emotions from politics back in 2020. So, like, I'm not going to get worked up about this person's side or that side. I'm just laughing at a guy like Jann Wenner, who's like a classic old hippie liberal. And yet he gives an interview so tone deaf where he says he has a new book coming out called The Masters. And it's a set of interviews with with like, Bono and Mick Jagger and a bunch of rock and rollers who he calls the masters. Goodbye. I need more cowbell. Why are you leaving? Is it because I said liberal? I meant conservative. And like he gives an interview and the person's like, hey, you didn't interview any black people or any female artists for your book. And he goes, well, they're just not articulate enough for the book. And he didn't think that was a big deal. And the interviewer puts the interview out, and it took a couple days for this to catch on. I read the interview when it came out. I was like, wait a second, why is that not the story? And now, of course, he's been removed from voting on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I think he is at least part founder of. And it's like, dude, you're so out of touch and tone. You thought you're going to be able to say, well, I just couldn't find one black artist who was articulate enough to be interviewed in my book called The Masters. He just interviewed his friends. He interviewed Bruce Springsteen, and he interviewed Mick Jagger, and he interviewed Bono. And by the way, Bono, I'm good on Bono. I've been good on Bono for a long time, ever since he started wearing that stupid cowboy hat. And like, Bono, like you're like best friends with George W. Bush. What the hell is that? I don't get it. So rightly so, Wenner's getting a little bit of his comeuppance. I remember I watched him on the Joe Rogan Experience earlier this year, and they had a contentious interview because they're clearly on opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to a lot of the social issues of today, and COVID and all that kind of stuff. And Wenner articulated his points and Joe articulated his. But this, speaking of articulating, this is just like, what a dumbass. Couldn't find one, and he even says in the interview, he's like, I suppose for political purposes, I could have, found one woman and one black artist to interview, and then I would have avoided this backlash. But I didn't feel like it. I guess he's standing by his principles that he doesn't believe. And I actually saw on Twitter a guy who worked at the Source magazine, which was like the preeminent hip hop magazine of the 90s and early 2000s, saying that like Jann Wenner would just lie and be like, oh, Rolling Stone. By the way, Jann Wenner, the editor of Rolling Stone, that for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's who he is. And he was like, we do the best hip hop coverage. And this guy said, no, you don't. Like, that's why we had to go and found the Source, because you guys didn't cover hip hop in a serious way. It just kind of annoyed me too. And then he's like bringing up, oh, well, maybe I could have talked to like Marvin Gaye. He would have been a guy. But Marvin Gaye's been dead for 40 years. Or Curtis Mayfield, another guy dead for 20 years. He's clearly not keeping up with the times. Would it have been him? I don't want to say capitulating, but like just choosing a black artist and a female artist to avoid the backlash. Yeah, but it also would have been a good thing. There are certainly plenty of artists out there deserving who could have been in this book. I also, it gets weird when you come to this type of thing, because you don't want to say you have to include something in a book that you're writing. It's his book, it's his interest and all that. It's just from an optics perspective, it's stupid. And it reveals himself. It's this kind of patronizing thing that a lot of these old hippies are into. Like, oh yeah, we really care and we're really all about equal rights and all that kind of stuff. But personally, you're just not articulate enough to get into my book, The Masters. Not one mention of Tupac Shakur. You want to talk about someone who gives great interviews? I know he's been dead for 27 years too, but still. Go watch a Tupac interview. That'll get you pumped up. So that's Jann Wenner. Giannis Wenner. Okay, Hasan Minahj. Anybody ever heard of Hasan Minahj? I have heard his name, cannot claim to have ever seen his comedy. He's in some hot water, not too hot, let's say lukewarm. Nothing's really going to happen to him, but apparently he made up a bunch of stories about things that had happened to him. Hasan Minahj is of Southeast Asian descent, and he said that he received a lot of racism and bigotry over his Muslim heritage, but it turns out that he literally made up the details of a bunch of stories. Let's get into some of them. The New Yorker did a big expose. He's probably thrilled that the Russell Brand news broke over the same weekend. Not that anyone was going to get that worked up over Hasan Minahj making up what he calls 70% emotional truth and 30% hyperbole in his stories. But, still takes him off the front page. So one such anecdote that he embellished was about his daughter and how he had to rush her to the hospital after an envelope with white powder was sent to his house. It was all made up. He also exaggerated about getting turned down for his school dance due to his race, and something else about how an FBI informant infiltrated his community mosque. He's saying, look, it doesn't matter because these are emotionally true, or these things have definitely happened to other people. And people and some supporters are saying, look, it's the same as the comedian making up a funny story about something that happened to him. I think there is a difference between making up a funny story of something that happened to you, like at a hotel on the road, or, a relationship, and this, because it's a little nefarious, considering that he's playing on he's using this stuff that is emotionally important to a lot of people just to benefit his stand-up career. Like, it doesn't really matter. The stakes aren't that high, but it's annoying too. Obviously he chose to go this route. He wanted to be like a darling of the political establishment. You see him in videos talking with Stacey Abrams and having debates. And, he had a show called Patriot Act, I believe, for years. And like, that's kind of his lane. So you shouldn't be making stuff up, though, just to get into that lane. I understand he probably didn't expect it to get to this point. He reminds me of that guy, Steve Ranazizi, who claimed that he was in 9/11 for years. He's another comedian. And then it turned out that he wasn't even anywhere near the towers on 9/11. But Minahj is, I don't think he expected to get this. I mean, you can never really expect to get this big. Even though he's not that big, he's still pretty successful. And so he probably thought, oh yeah, I'll just embellish the truth a little bit here. And then you get a good response. And then you keep going with it. And then, maybe your management team is like, oh, this is really good. Like politically, it's really good for you to play these stories up. Yeah, it's true. It's emotionally true. But, just keep it going. Who cares? This is the times that we're living in. It's important. What you're doing is important, Hasan. And then he keeps going. And then eventually someone's like, wait a second, that didn't happen. And now he looks like a jackass. And now it's hard to trust him. I mean, I wasn't watching him before, but I'm not going to watch him now. I don't mind if a comedian makes up. I saw someone on Twitter pointed out the story from Dave Chappelle's Killing 'Em Softly special from the year 2000, where he jokes about he was down in sitting in a limo and he saw a baby selling crack on the street, and it was like a whole funny bit. It's like we know that didn't happen. That's different. That's comedic embellishment. This is not even comedy. It's like trying to tell you about. It's utilizing the political climate at the time for yourself, and then you're making it up, and then a lot of people won't be this generous. They're not going to be like, oh, it's okay, Hasan. There's a lot of people out there that'll be like, see, there's no such thing as racism because this guy's making it up. So you make everyone look bad when you pull lies like that. And I'm not going to watch this guy's special knowing that he's just lying about his personal experiences. And he's like acting like they're really, he's like speaking of emotional truth, he's emotionally substituting. He's like working himself up and is not even real. He's like Michael Jordan. You know, Michael Jordan used to make up, this came out years later after he was playing. Michael Jordan would invent things, invent slights that people pointed in his direction to get pumped up for games. He is doing that, but it's not right. Thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. We're just trying to keep it real here. We're just trying to talk about what the situation is. This is my emotional truth. That's what this show is. Doesn't matter if it's real. So look, is he going to be canceled? I don't think so. First of all, I don't think anyone cares. Like, I'm talking to everybody here on TikTok. Most of you are like, I've never heard of Hasan Minahj. He's lucky in that he's not quite big enough for people to care. And then the people that would care and really get mad at him probably weren't fans of his anyway. And then his own fans are going to be like, well, he's right. Emotional truth is truth. You know, we are living in that kind of post-truth era anyway, where emotional truth is taken as truth and given the same validation. Emotional truth is violence or something like that. Okay. Let's see. Katy Perry sold her entire music catalog for $225 million. Congrats to her. And I don't know. Is there anything else? Kind of a slow Monday a little bit. I'm probably going to go hit the streets after this. Where was Joe today? Was he was in Beverly Hills, I know that, and now he's over at Dancing with the Stars. Is he still out there? I might have to go to Hollywood so I can switch it up, give you guys something different. Yeah, well, I think we've covered everything that we can today for this show. As usual, I will cut this up and repost it later so you can watch it again and memorize it. And yeah, I guess we've gotten it done on YouTube. Natalie is saying, go get the scoop on Mauricio. That's right. I want to go get Kyle. I want to go to Beverly Hills and find Kyle. We've heard enough from Mauricio. It's time to talk to Kyle. Kyle likes me. She's always been very nice to me. Kyle Richards. So, all right. Time to play the outro. And then everyone on YouTube, I'm going to switch over to TikTok in the field. Everyone on TikTok, I'm going to be going live again in, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes or so, however long it takes me to get to Hollywood from here. We're here at the Shooky Live studios. Another wonderful day. And we appreciate you for watching. And here comes my outro. Have a good life.
We will see you soon.
Much love.
Thank you.
Love.
All right, Kanye.
So once again, thank you to my brother. Tell him your name again.
Dante Greco.
2 words. Made in America.
Dante, you're doing great.
That's good. I know anybody over in my life. It's from.
Listen, I want you to leave my good friend Ringo alone.
Yeah.
Pal,
Have a good day.